Monthly market report for April of 2022. My name's Michelle Perez, and I'm thrilled to be here today to walk you through one of the most important topics you need to have top of mind for the housing market: the impact of rising mortgage rates on the housing market. A lot of people are seeing mortgage rates rising, and they're asking the question, are home prices going to fall? What's going to happen to sales? There's a lot of big questions out there and a lot of uncertainty. And so what I've done is I've gone back and I've pulled together the historical data to show you what's happened historically when mortgage rates were rising and what happened in those environments, so you can use the data and the facts to create your own market opinion on what's going to be happening moving forward. What I'm going to start with is a look at how mortgage rates have been rising this year. No surprise, right? Mortgage rates are on the rise. This is data from Freddie Mac, and it goes back to the very beginning of this year. What you can see over there on the left is that mortgage rates started out at 3.11% for the average 30 years fixed at the beginning of the year, and they have just steadily climbed since then up to 4.67% is the latest data that we're looking at right now. You may be seeing something slightly higher, slightly lower in your market, and that's very realistic. The data that Freddie Mac presents here is actually a look back at the previous week. As of the very end of March, average 30-year fixed at 4.67%. So, a lot of people are asking why. So let's see if we can answer that. And I think this quote next will really help. This is from Freddie Mac as well. Mortgage rates are likely to continue to move higher throughout the balance of 2022. Although the pace of rate increases is likely to moderate, much of the increase in rates in early 2022 is in anticipation of what will happen later this year, especially with Federal Reserve interest rate policy. So what does that mean? Rates are projected to continue rising. That's what the experts are saying. That's what we've been sharing with you all along, but likely at a moderate pace. That's because the Fed has raised their rate and mortgage rates tend to follow that. And that takes a little bit of uncertainty out of the market. And some of these rate increases have been priced in because experts now know what is projected to happen. As we look at mortgage rates rising, we are projected to see them continue to increase, but at a more moderate pace. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, the big question people are asking is what's going to happen to home prices as mortgage rates rise? A lot of people think that when rates go up, prices go down. Well, I want to share with you today the data that our team has pulled together on this. What you're looking at here is the impact of rising rates on home prices when mortgage rates rose by more than a percentage point. This goes all the way back to October of 1993. So almost 30 years. And it shows you that there was an average of about 8% home price appreciation as mortgage rates are rising by more than a percentage point. So overall, what we can see is that rising rates have not had a negative impact on home prices. But I want to take this a little step further because I think of a lot of people that have more questions about what's going to happen with sales. So let's take a look at this addition to the same data and to add some home sales for the same period of time, going all the way back to 1993. Now, what we can see here is there's an average of a decrease of 11% in home sales as prices were rising. We know as rates rise that tends to sometimes reduce buyer activity. It prices some people out of the market. But what we want to do is look at what does this mean overall. And I think we have a fundamentally very different housing market than what we've had in some of these environments. So let's take a look at the first line, where October 93 to December of 94, mortgage rates increased by 2.3% to a final rate of 9.2%. So let's be super clear that we're not looking at a 2.5% increase in mortgage rates right now. We're not projected to, and we're certainly not projected, according to the experts, to get up to 9.2 mortgage rate. So very, very different environment than what we're talking about. So I want to factor that out. So we can look at the mortgage rate environments that were closer to what we're seeing today, which is a 1 to 1.5% increase. So let's look at the same data and what you can see overall. There's a little bit of an orange. There's a little bit of black, meaning home sales as mortgage rates are rising in these environments, really negligible impact. So maybe down by 2%, maybe up by 2%. Roughly that 2% impact on home sales as mortgage rates are rising in a similar environment. And of course, the outlier is 2005, 2006, which was the lead up to the housing crisis, and home sales dropped by 14%. So what we can see here is that when you factor this data out, we start to see that rising mortgage rates don't have a huge impact on home sales. So why is that? I think one of the big things we have to look at is what is available for sale. We have to look at the inventory component, because today what we're seeing is drastically low inventory. Inventory today is lower than it was in January of 2021. And keep in mind that that was historically low then. So very, very low inventory. It's a huge deficit. And when inventory is that low, we want to think about what's projected to happen moving forward. Home prices are projected to continue rising because there just aren't enough homes for sale. We talk about supply and demand a lot in this environment, and that's what drives home price appreciation. So when we think about home prices rising and home sales, we're also seeing plenty of buyers in the market. It's really a matter of buyers can't find a home to buy. There's not enough inventory to do that. So when we see headlines about a softening in home sales at any point right now, it's not because of rising mortgage rates, it's because there aren't enough homes to buy. And buyers who want to buy aren't able to find them right now. So I want to layer in the inventory data because I think this really helps paint the picture of what's happening historically and where we're headed as well. When we look at months inventory, and we only have it going back to 2003, 2004 for this series of data, we have 5 months of inventory, 4.5 months, 4.8 months. We had a very, very different inventory level than what we have today. So when we think about those environments where it looks like 2005, 2006, 2012, 2013, where there was a little bit of a negative impact on sales, inventory was very different. Home prices are projected to continue rising. Inventory is still very low, and that is the driver that's going to propel us forward when we look at what could happen in the market with home price appreciation as well. So what I want to do is pause here for a minute, kind of summarize where we're at, and as we look at this data, as mortgage rates rose by more than 1%, and when I think about a similar environment to where we are right now, home prices continue to appreciate. Negligible impact on home sales outside of the housing bubble, of course. And then months inventory was very, very different. And where we're at today in months inventory is projected to continue to make home prices continue to rise. So I want to wrap up with a few quotes from the experts. So let's look at what NAR is saying. While short-term interest rates will push up mortgage rates, I expect some of this impact to be mitigated eventually through lower inflation. Thus, I expect the 30-year fixed mortgage rate to continue, although we aren't likely to see big jumps that occurred over the past few weeks. So, what is this saying? It's saying inflation is driving this increase in mortgage rates. We expect it to continue to rise. That's what I've been saying. I've been sharing with you what the experts are saying. but it won't be at as quite a rapid pace as we've been seeing over the past few weeks, because that's the nod to the Fed and to the experts pricing this in. So what NAR is saying is, I want to share with you also what Freddie Mac is saying. History suggests that when rates rise, there is an initial bump in home prices, as many move quickly to buy a home before rates increase further. But after that period, home prices slow. Freddie Mac analysis shows that a 1% increase in mortgage rates result in home price appreciation that is 4% points lower. For instance, a 1% increase in mortgage rates would change home price growth from 11% to 7%. So what is Freddie Mac saying? We certainly feel that home price appreciation will slow. Mortgage rates will slow some of the frenzy. But we're not talking about depreciation. We're talking about a softening, a deceleration, and that will help slow some of the frenzy as we move forward in the housing market. And then this last one, I think this is the big takeaway, a really good one to end on. And this is the what to do. From Freddie Mac, it says, with rates rising and expected to rise through 2023, it makes sense to obtain a purchase or refinance mortgage if you're in good standing. So, the data, the insights, the historical context, I hope that helps you as you look back at what's happened in the past to be able to formulate your opinion based on data, based on facts, based on what's happened in the past about what's going to happen in your market as well. So I'll wrap up on that, and I'll see you next month on the Monthly Marketing Report.